Hello everyone. Have you ever read a tech magazine, a web page, or a blog? If yes, then you have probably seen the abbreviation API. Sounds pretty familiar, right? But what does actually it mean? And why should you bother to know? Let's get started and find out. API is the acronym for Application Programming Interface, which is a software intermediary that allows two applications to talk to each other. Every time you use an app like Facebook, send an instant message, or check weather on your smartphone, you are using an API. For instance, when you use an application on your smartphone, it connects you to the internet and sends data to the server. Server analyzes the data, performs necessary actions, and sends it back to your smartphone. Application then interprets that data and delivers you with the actual result you wanted in a readable way. So at the most basic level, API is a set of defined rules that enables data transmission between two applications. You can say API is the glue of the digital world, working together behind the scenes with other applications, making calls to each other to deliver data that is needed as requested. Technically, API accesses data and features of other applications, services, or operating systems. Most of the large companies have built APIs to facilitate their customers, like eBay, Amazon, Apple, and so on. Alright, let's talk about how API works. Primarily, API sits between an application and a web server, acting as a middleman that processes data transfer between systems. The architecture of API is explained in terms of client and server. The application sending a request is called a client, and the application sending a response is called a server. Here is a procedure how it works. In the first step, client application starts an API call to retrieve data, also known as request. This request is processed from an application to the web server via API's Uniform Resource Identifier. In the second step, after receiving a request, API makes a call to the web server. In the third step, server sends a response to the API with the requested data. Finally, API transfers the data to the initial requesting application. This is what an API is all about. Now let's take an example for a better understanding. Let's say you are sitting at a table in a cafe with a menu of choices to order from. In this scenario, kitchen is a part of a system that will prepare your order. Now here is an important point to understand. What's missing here is the link or connection to communicate with the system or kitchen. That means who will deliver your order back to your table. That's where the waiter or API comes into the play, who works as a messenger between you and the kitchen. Waiter or API takes your order or request and tells the kitchen or system what to do. When the kitchen or system prepares your order, waiter or API delivers the order or response back to you at your table. In this example, it's the food. In a different scenario, this could be the data or information. This is how basically API works. I hope you got what I tried to explain. Let's see another example. API is used in universal logins. It enables people to log into websites or apps by using their Google, Facebook, or Twitter's account detail. They are the big joints who have already saved your personal data in their own data centers. And when you put your personal information on the login page, it goes to the data center via Google's, Facebook, or Twitter's API for verification. If details are verified, user gets access, otherwise request declined. This API feature allows any website to quickly authenticate the user, which saves a lot of time and hassle for setting up a new account for every website or application. Some of other examples of API include Google Maps, online travel services, third-party payment processing, and many more. Now API comes in different types, such as private, public, partner, and composite. Protocols used by API include RPC, SOAP, REST, and WebSocket. The bottom line is API is being used in different ways according to the system for which they are designed, such as database API, web API, remote API, and a few more. Alright, so this wraps up today's video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.